So this is a video to show the preparation for Pluto's food, both meatballs and the new way of feeding him, which is having him lick the food off a ice cream lid. So first of all, you have to start with the dried kibble. We use Science Plan. We measure this out to a large dog size, and with this amount of kibble, with boiling water and 1 tin of dog food split into 2 meals, that's enough to maintain him. We leave that dog food overnight, and then in the morning we add more hot water, just a small amount, to make sure it comes out like as you are seeing now, if it would fall out the damn pot. Basically the top layer will still be dry and everything else underneath will be wet and mashable, so you want to get that top layer also mashable. So you just add a little bit of water, leave it another hour, so you've got the whole night, and then you add a bit more in the morning. Very simple. Then get an old potato masher and go to town. So you're just mashing this up into a fluffy texture. And once you've got it into a fluffy texture, you then add in the tinned dog food, which you can see at the top left. We're using Butcher's. We did for a long period of time use Chappie, which is a fish-based tinned dog food, and well, Pluto just simply went off it, didn't want it anymore, wouldn't eat the food with Chappie in it, so we had to find something else. So we found Butcher's. They do 2 versions, I think a grain-free and another one which is something else. They have salmon, chicken, turkey, you know, all the usual stuff. They have jelly and one with no jelly. So we go for the one with jelly. That's the one he seems to like the most. And once we've mashed this up enough so there's no big lumps, we will then add in the Butcher's. Once the Butcher's has been added to the meal, you then want to try and get it as small as possible, and try and get it to kind of, you know, blend in with the fluffy texture. You're probably going to have to add water again. I almost always do. Just again, boiled water from the kettle, add it in, and then use the back of the spoon to kind of crush it, so you can't really tell there's 2 different foods in there. It just makes it easier for the second part, which will be rolling the food into a ball if you're going to feed your dog meatballs, which I highly suggest you try if you haven't already. If your dog can swallow them whole, that certainly worked really well for Pluto for a long period of time, until it didn't. And the other method that we've now used full time is we place the food back into the pot and blend it. And we blend it until it's a paste which is got enough water in it that it isn't sticky and horrible, but it doesn't fall off the lid that you can see at the top of the picture there. So we don't want it dripping off of there, that would be bad, but we don't want it too hard and lumpy that, you know, the dog's not going to enjoy it and want it. He's got to be able to lick it up and then swallow it. So that's the kind of texture you're aiming for. You can also see that this preparation is reasonably time consuming. I mean, in the grand scheme of things it's not, but it does tend to take time. You're looking at a good, 10 minutes sometimes of just prepping the food before actually feeding the dog, and then feeding the dog is entirely in the dog's corner. Is he going to be in the mood? You don't know. It could take 5 minutes, it could take 20 minutes. You just don't know. So this is how to make a meatball. This is quite simple. You just scoop a bit up, roll it into a ball, and there you go. Very easy. Doesn't fall apart in your hand, isn't too wet, so it's going to stick to the dog's the roof of the mouth, because that can always be a problem if they're trying to swallow it whole and it sticks, so you don't want that. But this method is no longer working for Pluto, so we are placing all the food now back into this little pot, and then we will blend it up. The blending is pretty self-explanatory, really. We've just got a blender, it's an old blender, and we just blend it. We add water, not too much but not too little, and we keep doing that until we get the texture we want. It's a very long, boring process, nothing fancy about it, but as long as we get the texture right, it's better. It's better to do more of the blending and less of the water. You don't want too much water, because then you can't undo that. So just add little bits of water until you get it right. And do remember to turn the blender off when you're putting your fingers at the bottom. That's a mistake I think everyone learns. You do not want to lose the end of your finger while doing this. One more thing to note here is that we do this every day, twice a day. The dog seems to know when we've prepared it overnight. We thought about bulk preparing this and keeping it in the fridge overnight, maybe even like 2 days before. Pluto always knows when we've done that. He always knows when it's been prepared like this overnight, and he won't touch it. It's just another thing with Pluto. He's picky. He likes his food fresh, or as fresh as it can be. Doesn't mind kibble being soaked overnight, but if it's mashed up and blended up and then stored overnight, he's not having it. No. He wants you to prepare his food fresh for him, which we're happy to do. So now we have Pluto in the chair, and he's gonna lick up his dinner. It's quite simple. You spoon it from the pot onto the lid, use the back of the spoon to spread it out as in a kind of thin layer, and then he licks it off the lid. Rinse and repeat. And it's like that until he finishes his dinner. And then once he's finished his dinner, he sits in the chair for 15 minutes. We clean off his face. Quite often get food under his chin, give that a clean, and then he either chews a small rawhide chew, and or he just sits there and sulks while he has to wait. 15 minutes. Of course, waiting there does seem to make a big difference after he's eaten. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, it will be different for every dog. But that waiting period just allows the food to, slowly but surely make its way to the stomach, into that useless esophagus. So that's the reasoning behind that, and I think having him in there 15 minutes, as much as he doesn't like it, is done wonders. It used to be 10, now it's 15, and I feel it's made a big difference. So hopefully it will stay at 15 and won't get any longer. But the esophagus does change, annoyingly, and you have to change with it. So yeah, I'm going to stop waffling on now. I hope this has been educational. I hope anyone with a megaesophagus dog has learned something from this if they needed it. And I'll leave you with the rest of the images of Pluto enjoying his dinner.